A decorated cop is found face down in a snow-blanketed driveway. His girlfriend, once a quiet finance professor, faces a possible life sentence. Was it a drunken rage, a tragic accident, or something darker swirling behind closed doors? Picture a frigid January night outside Boston. Crushed taillight glass glittering in the streetlights, a Lexus idling with its back window shattered, and one frantic voice message, "Did I hit him?" By dawn, Officer John O'Keefe is dead. Investigators are scrambling, and Karen Reed's world is detonating in real time. Yet as headlines scream, "Cop Killer," leaked texts, a mysteriously rehomed German Shepherd, and a fired lead detective hint that the simplest story might be a mirage. Stick around because the storm that buried John O'Keefe is about to unearth secrets nobody saw coming.
Snow hammered Canton in thick, sideways sheets that night, so hard the police log later called visibility near zero. Inside the waterfall bar, the hockey game had long ended, but the pints kept pouring. Karen Reed and Officer John O'Keefe closed their tabs after midnight, bantering about where to crash. Security footage catches her Lexus creeping away at 12:24 a.m., rear windshield already fractured from a previous mishap. 10 minutes later, the SUV rolls up to 34 Fairview Road, a colonial lit only by porch bulbs and the glow of a basement-level party. Neighbors would recall hearing doors slam, laughter, then nothing but wind. What's certain is that O'Keefe never texts again. Reed circles the block twice, dash data proves it, before gunning back to her own condo. She'll later swear John opted to crash with the guys, a common late-shift ritual. Yet, as the blizzard piles past the wheel wells, her phone lights up with half-typed messages. "You good? Call me, please." By 4 a.m., guilt, panic, or something unnamed drags her and a friend back to Fairview. They find O'Keefe face down in the drift, clothes crusted with ice, a faint pulse fading. EMS works in silence. Reed screams the line that will echo through 2 trials. Did I hit him? Whether that question was confession, confusion, or clever misdirection became the fulcrum of the case. But the driveway itself still held one more secret, scratches on O'Keefe's arm that no bumper should make. And that tiny contradiction would snowball into a theory nobody saw coming.
The evidence that melted away. Investigators thought they'd nailed it. Crimson flecks on Reed's shattered taillight, a smear of what looked like blood on the bumper, and black box data showing her Lexus jolting into reverse at 12 miles per hour. Easy math. Car, impact, tragedy. Except the math kept changing. First, lab tests said the blood was rust-tinted road salt. Then crime scene photos revealed no matching dents, no fabric threads, not a single hair, nothing tying John O'Keefe's body to the back of that SUV. GPS logs were another snowdrift of doubt. Reed's phone pinged 3 different towers between 12:40 and 1:10 a.m., suggesting she'd already left the neighborhood when prosecutors claimed the collision happened. But the Lexus data recorder? It froze after one entry, as if someone yanked the fuse or the system glitched in the cold. Defense experts called it a digital black hole. Prosecutors called it operator tampering, and jurors were left staring at spreadsheets that contradicted themselves. Even the driveway betrayed no skid marks, just fresh plow lines from a neighbor who'd cleared snow minutes before O'Keefe was found. And hidden inside the coroner's report was a single line the state wished no one would read. Linear abrasions on forearm inconsistent with vehicle strike. If a bumper didn't carve those wounds, what did? Forensic certainty was dissolving faster than the overnight snow. And just when the case seemed ready to refreeze around the prosecution's theory, a 4-legged twist padded into view. Bite marks and the vanishing dog. When forensic pathologist Dr. Grace Hightower flashed the autopsy close-ups on a courtroom screen, jaws literally dropped.
The parallel gashes running up John O'Keefe's left forearm weren't blunt, she testified. They were piercing, spaced almost perfectly for a large canine's upper and lower incisors. Rumors had long swirled that a German shepherd named Chloe roamed the Fairview basement party. Defense lawyers finally gave that rumor teeth. Reports claim the dog was quietly rehomed 2 days after the incident. No vet visit, no paperwork trail, just gone. Prosecutors scoffed, calling the so-called bite pattern snow shadow pareidolia. They marched in their crash recon team, who argued that a jagged taillight edge could mimic punctures when scraping skin at speed. Yet, under cross-examination, the state's lead analyst conceded he'd never tested that theory on flesh. Meanwhile, internet sleuths flooded Reddit with side-by-side overlays of Chloe's dental x-ray sourced from a leaked vet record and the wound photos. The match looked uncomfortably snug. Then came the bombshell kennel receipt, a one-line log showing a female GSD sable coat dropped off at a Cape boarding facility 36 hours after O'Keefe's death. Defense shouted conspiracy, prosecution muttered coincidence. But the jury watched the slip projected larger than life, and every eye flicked to the empty seat where the dog owner should have been. Why no testimony? Why no subpoena? No one could answer, because the lead detective who handled that evidence was already off the case. If a missing shepherd rattled prosecutors, the next revelation, dozens of profanity-laced texts from the investigator who once bragged she's cooked, would shatter their narrative completely.
Texts, bias, and a fired trooper. Enter Trooper Michael Proctor, the state's original lead investigator, and according to his own phone, Karen Reed's self-declared public enemy number one. Hours into the case, he was already texting friends, "She's cooked, gonna bury this chick," and mocking her medical issues with playground slurs. When defense lawyers subpoenaed the chat log, judges, jurors, everyone saw the venom in black and white. Proctor's problem snowballed. A department audit flagged missing evidence tags, late-night bar visits with key witnesses, even a selfie snapped beside Reed's impounded Lexus. By March 2025, the Massachusetts State Police quietly fired him for gross misconduct. But the damage was baked into every report he'd signed. Prosecutors tried to quarantine the fallout, renaming him a mere case agent and keeping him off the witness list. But the gap on the stand spoke louder than testimony. Defense seized the opening. If the troopers don't trust their own detective, why should you? Jurors scribbled notes as the judge let each ugly message be read aloud. And when Proctor's buddy, forced under subpoena, grimaced, "I'd rather not repeat that in open court," the room felt the floor tilt. Confidence in the state's narrative cracked. Suddenly, every missing timestamp, every mislabeled photo looked less like error and more like bias. With their star cops sidelined, prosecutors reshuffled, trimmed witnesses, and doubled down on digital forensics for trial 2. Outside, #FreeKaren crowd swelled, live stream views spiked, and a $5 million defense war chest geared up for a final data duel.
Deadlock to data war. The first trial in 2024 slogged through 9 weeks, 70 witnesses, and ended with a whimper. After 5 tense days, the jury sent one final note, hopelessly deadlocked. The judge declared a mistrial, and Reed walked out wearing ankle GPS, but no verdict. Norfolk County could have called it quits. Instead, officials doubled down, hiring Whitey Bulger's former lawyer, Hank Brennan, as special prosecutor, and green-lighting a second courtroom marathon that public records analysts pegged at $700 to $750K in taxpayer cost, an eye-watering figure for a single homicide retrial. Reed answered with cash of her own, well, mostly borrowed. She sold her condo, drained her 401k, and told Vanity Fair she now owes over $5 million in deferred legal fees. Crowdfunding sites kept the lights on, while celebrity litigator Alan Jackson weaponized every byte of crash data he could pry from the Lexus and cell tower logs. Thus, Trial 2 became a digital knife fight. Prosecution experts animated reverse gear speed spikes. Defense engineers overlaid snowy CCTV with GPS drift to argue no collision. Jurors stared at competing 3D models so polished they looked ripped from a Pixar render. Even the humble airbag module took the stand, projected at 12-foot scale to debate whether it really sensed impact. Outside, the spectacle was mutating faster than any spreadsheet. Live stream counters rolled past 1 million views. Pink, free Karen hoodies sold out in hours, and HBO Max rushed production on A Body in the Snow. And when cameras panned from the data charts to the chanting crowd, it was clear. This wasn't just a retrial, it was appointment entertainment. But the louder the circus got, the harder it was to hear the 12 quiet voices who actually mattered.
Courtroom goes viral. By the time Day 36 streamed, Court TV's YouTube counter ticked past 1.1 million live viewers, numbers usually reserved for championship sports, not snowy footage exhibits and cross-exams. Commenters spammed #FreeKaren as an on-screen ticker showed jurors file in, while TikTok creators stitched highlights into 30-second explainers that racked up tens of millions of loops overnight. Outside the Dedham courthouse, a wall of hot pink hoodies and handmade justice equals cover-up signs turned the street into its own set. Every Verdict Watch update unleashed fresh cheers. Video clips of supporters erupting when "Not Guilty" rang out have already logged hundreds of thousands of replays. Reporters joked the crowd was louder than most Bruins games, except nobody charged admission. Hollywood noticed. Max's docuseries A Body in the Snow dropped mid-trial, promising raw inside access to Reed's defense war room and instantly trending on Rotten Tomatoes' most watched list. Even the teaser, "Murderer or Victim of a Police Cover-Up," became a meme template, fueling Reddit war rooms where amateur sleuths parsed dog bite angles frame by frame. With every click, the noise grew, but inside Judge Canone's paneled courtroom, the decibel level fell to a hush. 12 jurors were about to answer the only question that mattered, and the internet would have to wait for the doors to reopen. Verdict Day Chaos, June 18, 2025, 2:57 p.m. Eastern. Silence settled over Courtroom 5A just long enough to hear the foreman's breath catch. Then 3 words, "Not guilty," detonated like a starter's gun. Outside, a sea of hot pink hoodies exploded in cheers. Cell phone footage shows the crowd chanting "Free Karen" as confetti spray cans hissed into the gray sky. Inside, Karen Reed hugged her lawyers, eyes glassy but dry. The judge read on, "Not guilty of manslaughter, not guilty of leaving the scene, only a misdemeanor OUI, capped with 1-year probation." Reporters sprinted for the exits. Live-stream chats rocketed past 50,000 messages a minute, half celebrating, half furious. Minutes later, Reed stepped onto the courthouse steps, flashed the "I love you" hand sign, and told cameras, "No one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have." Her words trended on X within 10 minutes, but so did #JusticeForJohn, fueled by the officers' relatives. In a written statement, the O'Keefe family called the verdict a devastating miscarriage of justice, insisting the real story remains hidden. Supporters roared, critics vowed civil suits, prosecutors slipped away, declining questions about whether they'd ever re-examine the case. Outside the metal detectors, documentary crews high-fived. Episode finales now wrote themselves. Yet one truth still iced the air. A decorated cop is dead, And despite 2 trials, nobody can say how or why. The gavel is down, but the mystery isn't. Because if Karen Reed didn't kill John O'Keefe, who did? So, who killed John O'Keefe? With Karen Reed off the hook, the driveway still echoes with questions. 3 theories keep surfacing online, none proven, all swirling with just enough clues to survive the fact checks. The house party fracas. Rumors suggest a late-night clash inside 34 Fairview. Alcohol, loose tempers, maybe a shove on slick basement stairs. Supporters point to bruises on O'Keefe's forehead that a bumper can't explain, and to whispered talk of guests cleaning up before first responders arrived. No direct witness ever confirmed a fight, and every guest denies it. Still, skeptics ask, why did several partygoers lawyer up within hours? Accidental fall in the blizzard. Some forensic consultants claim O'Keefe may have slipped while heading back to Reed's car. Reports cite snowbanks over 2 feet deep and an ice crust that can slice skin. This scenario matches the absence of impact dents on the Lexus, but stumbles over the arm wounds. Linear, piercing, more like teeth than pavement. The fall theory raises a chilling idea. Did everyone spend 3 years chasing a crime that never happened? An unknown assailant outside. It's been said that neighborhood CCTV missed a 5-minute blackout when a plow truck's floodlights flared across lenses. Conspiracy-minded threads tie that gap to a possible ambush. O'Keefe staggered by the storm, a stranger's fist or object delivering fatal blows, then the attacker vanishing up Fairview's side street. Police logs show no other pedestrians in that window, and investigators call the notion pure speculation. Yet, the blackout clip loops endlessly on Reddit as the internet's favorite ghost frame. 2 trials, 2 winters, and millions of streaming minutes later, the gavel has dropped, yet the storm over Canton hasn't cleared. A veteran officer lies in a grave, a finance professor walks under probation, and a fired detective's texts still smolder in public memory. We've sifted shattered taillights, missing dog records, and courtroom sound bites, but the driveway keeps its final secret to itself. Maybe the lesson isn't who backed up and who slipped. It's how fast trust can crack when evidence, emotion, and power collide. So, what do you believe happened that night? Scroll down, weigh the theories, and keep the conversation alive, because justice may be stamped closed, but truth is still out there, drifting like snow in a cold New England wind.